What a time to be a Leaf, mate, eh?
Mate, oh, I don't even
Right,
know. I don't know what to say.
you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
What's happening, troops? Welcome back to another video here on the SharpDiv YouTube channel. And what a day it is to be a Scotsman. Today I'm joined by David Buik, who is a co-host on the Talk Scottish Football podcast. Very glad to have you on today, mate. What's happening?
Oh, mate, I mean, you messaged me the other day saying we'll get a show on Friday to talk about us qualifying, and I was like, he's confident. Dearie me, this is just amazing. What a time to be alive.
Wait a wee minute, actually, is there a noise in the background in your flat?
Uh,
Yes, sir! I can Get in there, man! What a moment that was after the game. All the players all together singing that song. I think for years and years we've said we've had decent players, but the cohesion has not been there at the moment. It just looks like these group of lads, led by Andy Robertson as captain, and it just goes to show you he's the captain and how close they are, that sort of guy he is. This team just looks so close. They have one goal in mind. It was to get to the Euros. Went to Serbia, mate, and what was your thoughts on the game? Because I thought that they were unbelievable.
Mate, I thought for 89 minutes, where it's the best I've seen Scotland play in God knows how long. Just amazing. And I remember when it was Norway or Serbia, we all feared that we'd get Serbia. Serbia were the team you didn't want. Everyone's had talked about all their star players and all the rest of it, but we were so comfortable for the most part. I mean, they had a couple of chances, but I mean, at 1-0, it looked like it was going to be 2-0 Scotland rather than one each. I mean, we had chances to kill the game, and I mean, you just thought that it was typical. I mean, I sat here watching it, and I actually just felt sick. I was like, it's not even funny anymore that we've chucked this. How have we done it? But I mean, the character of that team, man, just to keep going, especially in extra time. The subs had been made to hold on to the lead. They weren't to go and get another goal, to then hold on. And I mean, and that's 10 penalties out of 10 and 2 shootouts. Just unbelievable. Love it.
See if every single Scottish player that played last night was a 10, what was Lyndon Dykes? Because I said to you on WhatsApp, I don't think I've seen a better performance in a Scotland jersey up until when he got subbed. He just dominated the Serbia backline. Every time the ball went up to him, he won a header. In the first half, I thought Christie wasn't close enough to him. But in the second half, he was obviously told, get closer to him. And I thought that the link-up between those two in the second half was absolutely amazing. But just talk to me about Lyndon Dykes, mate. The big Aussie,
Mate,
eh?
oh, he's just unbelievable. He's so good. I mean, he's everything we've wanted for so long now. He's what we thought Stephen Fletcher would be, what Gordon Strachan thought Chris Martin would be, what we hoped Lee Griffiths would be. He's the man. He's going to be the man for the next 5-10 years for Scotland. There's no doubt in my mind. I mean, I read someone's player ratings this morning, and they'd given like most of the team 8s, and I was like, what?
That's embarrassing.
I mean, mate, they were all just, I mean, Dykes was unreal though. He just bullied those defenders all night long. He wins everything in the air, everything. His hold-up's good. He's got a turn of pace. He's got a wee bit of skill, and he's got goals in him, which we've seen. There was so many individual performances, though. I was like ranting about Declan Gallagher and Stephen O'Donnell. I thought they were amazing. But even like Ryan Jack, Callum McGregor were both superb. It was just amazing, all over the park.
All over the park. And then the big man, David Marshall, in the penalties.
Sir David Marshall.
We need to get his left glove protected at all costs. We need that in a case or something like that, because what a hand. There'll be see forever, right? When anybody sees David Marshall, they'll want to shake that hand, wouldn't they? And they'll be able to say to their kids, to their grandkids, I shook the hand that took Scotland to the Euros after 22 years, 8,433 days, David. And when I sent you through a wee brief, I had a list of about 16 or 17 other countries that in the last 22 years in Europe had not qualified for a major competition. That included Andorra, Armenia, Azerbaijan, Luxembourg, Malta, and teams like this. Scotland did not belong on that list. So what do Scotland and those teams have in common? Absolutely fucking nothing anymore, because we are going to the Euros, baby.
Oh, it's amazing. We finally got that moment that like our fathers and grandfathers have told us all about. You know, we finally. I said it on Twitter this morning. Like, I've always loved international football. Big tournaments in the summer always makes the summer. I always love watching them. Like, it's just never been something that Scotland take part in. Like, I've just never. It's like going to be such a different experience to have a team to support rather than just whoever you get in a sweepstake or something. Like, to actually have Scotland there, it's just going to be amazing. I just cannot wait. it's finally sinking in this morning, and it's just the best thing ever.
Before we get on to our trip to the actual Euros, let's talk a wee bit about the game plan that Steve Clarke enforced. I'm seeing everywhere people calling him Sir Steve Clarke at the moment. And I said on a podcast the other day, if you want a result and you want to go and you want to kind of win ugly, Steve Clarke's your man. Surprisingly, I thought we didn't go there and play ugly. I thought we were brilliant. But just the game plan, I thought was superb. The way that we integrated the midfield onto the ball for the first time, in my opinion, to the best of their abilities, was last night. My favourite midfield is a midfield three that started. Obviously, John McGinn's playing a wee bit out of position at the moment. Hopefully, he can adapt and get better as the games go on. But for Steve Clarke to pick that shape, to go with certain guys that obviously proved themselves in the last international breaks, like your Gallagher's, your O'Donnell's, and then to kind of play that game plan where we were hitting dikes, we were feeding off the scraps, I thought it was superb, mate, for the manager. Unbelievable.
I mean, we've seen sort of the last sort of 4 or 5 games, we've started to see, signs of Steve Clarke Scotland, whereas before that we hadn't really done it. And I think, God, we've cried out for so long to have a Scotland team that wins ugly, grinds out results. And it's like having Steve Clarke's Kelly, which is exactly the biggest compliment you can pay, because they were so well organised, especially against teams better than them. The game plan was superb. I mean, there was a few people clamouring for Cooper or even Considine to play ahead of Tierney at the back. But you could see early on Tierney was just playing against Tadic. Every time Tadic got the ball, Tierney was out to him, stopping him playing, worked the treat. He didn't get a kick all night. Big Gallagher, Pocket and Mitrovic, amazing. You were right, Christie, first half didn't probably get close enough, but in the second half, when he got close to Dykes, we looked like we were going to score. Like, every time the ball went up to Dykes, it was just, Christie was playing off him. Christie was superb. McGinn was just, John McGinn, brilliant shift. I thought Jack and McGregor were unbelievable. I was clamouring for Armstrong to play over McGregor, but Callum McGregor was amazing. Ryan Jack just looks made for international football. Just sits there, picks it up, takes the pressure off. The amount of times we'd be under pressure, he'd get the ball and just ping a ball out to Robertson or O'Donnell and take the pressure off. Just amazing. I mean, it's so hard to fault anyone.
I see when you're winning a game of football, like last night against a tough team, seen it time and time again for Rangers in Europe with Jack. He's the man you want in there, because, as you said, he'll just shore things up. He'll make it easier for the guys around about him. And I think that's one of the best performances I've seen for Callum McGregor as well in a Scotland jersey. And I think a lot of compliments have got to be given to that partnership, of the two of them, because Jack, he'll do a lot of the ugly work, as you say, he'll take the pressure off. And that allowed Callum McGregor to go and show what he was about in his passing variety. He gets forward for the goal, and it's nice link-up play. Christie scores it, and it's something I think he's most good at when he hits a ball. He doesn't need any backlift, does he? He just knows where the target is, and he can get a good strike from the ball. And what a finish it was, sent his own away, mate. It should have been the goal that took us to the Euros, but it is what it is. We are there anyway.
Mate, it's a weird one, because I actually kind of prefer the way we did do it. It's just like, it's so Scottish, man. It's just perfect. Yeah. And the 1-0 would have been great, but just to go from like 90 minutes, I'd be surprised if there was any Scotland fan that thought we were going to win that game at 1 each. I think we all thought we were dead and buried. And then just to hold on, penalties were so good. But yeah, Jack and McGregor, it's a great partnership. It's such a nice balance there. McGregor's more naturally going to drive forward with the ball. Jack will sit there quite happily, do the dirty work. But I mean, even like Scott McTominay is another one. I thought he was amazing again last night. Yes, he's at fault for the goal, but apart from that, he was just brilliant. For almost every single one in that team, it was their best performance in a Scotland shirt last night, which just tells you everything you need to know. I mean, the boys were just so up for it, and we just looked like we wanted it more than them. And I think that was probably one of the main factors. They just didn't look like they wanted it as much as we did, and it was telling in the end.
And man for man, we were better than them. There was a lot made out about your Tadic's, Mitrovic, Milinkovic-Savic, but I thought that Scotland handled them man for man. You spoke about Tierney and Man Martin, Tadic. Again, brilliant for the coaching staff. They've identified Tadic as a problem. And the moment I realised he was getting close to Tadic, but the moment that I noticed he's literally Man Martin him out the game is when he followed them all the way back to the halfway line. And he just was right behind them. Tadic couldn't turn. And at that moment, I realised he's Man Martin him out this game. Tadic is having to come all the way back to the halfway line and get the ball. That's where you want a player like that. One of their biggest danger men. And I thought that he was brilliant. I was going to say, is there anybody that we haven't covered? But you brought up the man McTominay there. Obviously, he gives the goal away. Can't be doing that. But as you said, I thought up until that moment, he was brilliant. And he showed balls of steel. He stepped up in the penalty shootout. And all the guys did, really, in the penalty shootout. Because Kenny McLean had just come on. Even McBurney was getting absolute pelters, and he put it away. But yeah, just credit that man McTominay. As if he can obviously try and get better at defending, he will be brilliant for us in there for sure.
The best thing is like that goal that we concede is something you can fix in training ground easy enough. It comes with experience. Somebody who's not normally a defender, it will come. But the things McTominay adds to that back line that a normal centre-half wouldn't is the amount of times he's got the ball in the back three and you can start attacks, pinging balls into Dykes' feet, God knows how many times. And I think a lot of people criticise him when he plays in midfield for not passing the ball forward enough, but when you've got somebody who's as comfortable on the ball as he is at the back, also he's quick as well. If the ball goes in behind him, he's got a bit of pace. It's just amazing. I was honestly, like, you mentioned McBurney there, great penalty from him. Like, I'm so overawed in happiness and emotion. I can't even come to criticise. I mean, I did think he was dog shit, but anyway, I don't even want to criticise him because he scored the penalty we won. Who cares? Callum Patterson as well. I thought he put a shift in, but whether or not these guys are good enough to win the Scotland team, it's an argument for another day. But ultimately, they're in the team that won and got the job done, and that is all that matters.
So moving on then, David Boy, how do you think that we can improve? You spoke a wee bit about McTominay there. That can be easily changed in the training ground. I totally agree with that. Jovic came off the bench. There was a wee bit of confusion. Whose man is it, etc., etc. His movement patterns are different for other guys. Mitrovic, such a threat. Everybody was drawn towards that. They'll learn for that, hopefully. So that's an area, of course, we can improve in. But I thought, out with that, we were brilliant at defending set pieces. Mitrovic was their biggest threat in the air. We've seen him doing in the English Prem and the Championship, and even at international level, bulleting headers into the back of the net. If there's anything that guy's good at, it's getting on the end of crosses. And I thought Gallagher was exceptional at cutting that out. But is there any other areas you think we could improve going forward?
Well, I think the most exciting thing is because we've now got a clear plan and a clear system, just continuing to play will improve us. We'll become a more well-oiled machine. Listen, we've got 2 more games this international break. I think Sunday's a bit of a write-off, but we'll have a good few games before the tournament starts, and we're in a position now with this setup. If we can start to nail it down and we can start to get even more confident in it, come the likes of playing Croatia and England, yes, they're better teams than us, yes, they've got better players than us, but with this setup, the way we're playing, we are designed to do well against these teams, and that is just the most encouraging thing. I mean, you've got the likes of, listen, we've still got Ryan Fraser, James Forrest, Stuart Armstrong, who didn't play last night. You've got quality to come in. It's just hard not to be positive just now, which is a far cry from where we were 3 months ago. But
our under 21s obviously picked up a positive result as well, 2 each versus Croatia, who have obviously got a solid under 21s themselves. They were 2-0 down, managed to take it back to 2 each. I don't know if you've seen Billy Gilmour getting sent off, but it's
what was that all about, man?
Honestly, he must have called him a baldy bastard because
he must have said something.
The most ridiculous red card I've ever seen, man. Even the under 21s are looking good there. They've got another year to go and continue to prove themselves, try and get themselves in that Euro spot. This is going to pick up everybody in the nation. It's not just the players that are involved in the squad at the moment. It's every other possible player that could be in that squad, because that is where they want to be in it. Players like Lewis Ferguson, Ross McCrory, Billy Gilmour, all these guys that are playing for the under 21s at the moment and doing well club level, they will be just chomping at the bit over the next year to try and get in that squad, mate, which can only be good for us for sure. So let's transition now into our group a wee bit. You spoke about it. The only thing I'm disappointed in, mate, is I'm going to need to cancel the swimming shorts because it's fucking 5 minutes down the road at Hampden Stadium. We play Croatia and Czech Republic at Hampden, and we play England at Wembley Stadium. You could not write it, mate, could you?
Mate, I mean, I totally get you. There is that there could be that little tinge of disappointment that we've not got a country to travel to. But the ultimate cushioning blow is having to go to Wembley. I mean, that, if you had to pick an away day out with travelling to a country, it's like Scotland, go down to London, taking over Trafalgar Square, very liquid in the fountains, all the rest of it. Mate, I said to you before we started recording that I booked the flights last night, so, I mean, hoping COVID behaves itself and we can get down. But, listen, I couldn't care where we were playing. Just the thought of having a summer where Scotland are playing in a major tournament is just, it's amazing. I cannot wait. Amazing.
And how do you think we'll fare then? Obviously, we'll have a home advantage, which is great. I think, see, if you just look at it, it looks like a wee bit of a group of death. England are obviously a top side. Croatia were in the World Cup final. They've obviously got top players, and we've seen how good Czech Republic were as well in the last game. But obviously, we picked up the result that night, mate, didn't we? And I just think, going forward, the confidence that we got for that last international break, the one before this, was pivotal in us beating Serbia. Serbia are a good side. and hopefully the confidence can grow again, and this group of players can continue to kind of blossom and be a top side, go into this Euros next year and give as good as we can. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, those boys, they'll fear nobody. Fear absolutely nobody. Looking at that group, they will not fear any of them. Listen, I think the 4 best third-place teams get through the group stages to the knockouts. So you have a decent chance of getting through that group. You got Czech Republic at home. That you have to win that game. That is the ultimate. Have to win that game. Listen, Croatia at Hampden. I've seen Scotland beat Croatia quite a lot recently. We've actually got a good record against them.
That's right.
They're not what they were.
Yeah, a few years ago, I went and worked in Croatia for a few weeks, and I got a message last night from one of the big guys on Facebook saying congratulations and all that. And then this morning I was talking to him, and he said, "I'm looking forward to hopefully Croatia beating Scotland for the first ever time." And I never realised myself, that they've never beaten us. So we'll have that at least going into the game. And they are a small nation; they're smaller than us. Believe it or not.
They've had a real glory period the last 10 years, but I think since the World Cup 2018, they kind of seem to be in a little bit of a downward trajectory now, which is obviously encouraging for us. But again, as I said, it's this shape and this system. Listen, we're not going to kid ourselves on and think that we're going to go and play Croatia and dominate the ball and have all, we're going to set up in a way that's the one thing about Steve Clarke, is I trust him to come up with a game plan to beat these teams. And listen, it might not work, but I'm a lot more confident now in Scotland taking on these teams and having a right good go than I was a year ago. So, I mean, as long as we keep progressing.
And even England, we've showed we can play against them, mate. We've showed, and I think that they're in a transition period as well. You look at the starting 11 last night. There's a lot of players that Lyndon
Dykes is going to throw Harry Maguire about like an empty trackie, and I cannot wait for it. It's going to be amazing.
Absolutely, it could be a bloodbath, that game. Honestly, I just hope Big Lyndon Dykes is still firing in all cylinders. I watched your video actually last night in the Talk Scottish Football podcast, Match Reaction, and you were saying, I believe you said this, don't quote me, but that he could be a striker going forward for the next, for the foreseeable. And I totally agree with you, mate. He's been exceptional since he came in, and hopefully he can replicate that in the Euros, man. Yeah,
and England are one of those. We know they've got talent and stuff, but listen, they're not. They like the odd shocking result, in Europe. So listen, they're absolutely beatable. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Listen, the whole team's in that group, we can beat them, but whether we do it or not is a different thing. And I know we're all caught up in the emotion just now, but just to be there and be on with a shot, that's what I said to somebody last night. If we just beat Czech Republic and get beaten in the 2 games, just getting that win, the scenes will be unbelievable. And it's just, I thought Ryan Christie's interview last night was just amazing. That got me with the tears going. I mean, he was absolutely spot on for the whole country, man. What a result! And just even people who aren't into football this morning will be cutting about with smiles on their faces and stuff. So it's just amazing. Just delighted.
That's it, mate. It just totally lifts up the foundation. It's been a shit year. Everybody knows 2020's not been great. There's not been a lot of positive stuff that has happened. And Christie, you're right. He absolutely hit the nail on the head last night. I thought it was an unbelievable interview. Heart on his sleeve stuff, and just expressed everything that all Scottish fans were feeling, really. So it was, and they done it for everybody in the nation. And that is going to lift the nation, even going forward. Like, we go into Euros, we're now there on an international scale. People are going to be watching worldwide Scotland play in the Euros, and that can only be good for us financially as well, in trying to progress this team, mate, and trying to get Scotland back to where I believe we should be in qualifying, or at least being there or thereabouts and getting to all these competitions.
Next one's absolutely. Yeah, of course, and that's the thing. It's just it's going to make people want to play for the national team. How often have we said it recently that fans aren't that interested anymore, players aren't that interested, people dropping out of squads left, right and centre. Tell you what, between now and June, there will be no one dropping out of squads unless they absolutely have to. And that, it's all we wanted was to get the buzz back, get people caring. Steve Clarke said it when he got the job. He wanted to get the Tartan Army back on side. He's done that. He's got the players on side. And just seeing the celebrations, people question commitment to some of these boys. Looking at the celebrations, they are all absolutely delighted to play for Scotland, and what a bunch of lads we've got, and they did us proud last night. Absolutely, what a sight to behold, mate. But that is going to do us for this video. David, thanks very much for coming on. No worries, mate. Pleasure as always. Hopefully we get you on the channel again at some point, and we'll see you later. Where is the record button to stop recording?